Okay, we're ready to call our meeting to order. We're here today for a special called emergency meeting for the property at 3701 Larry Lane. The property owners listed as George Guffey, Sr. And, all right, Sarah, understand you wrote the report up. Can you roll call? I'm sorry. Go ahead and get a roll call vote, please.
Chairperson Winters.
Here.
Vice Chairperson Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Ezell.
Here.
Commissioner Rogers. Commissioner Stevens. Here.
All right, will everybody stand? Join with me in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'm back up and get myself in order here a little bit. We have a property at 3701, complaint by the housing board. You want to tell us what brought you to this property and what the problems are with it?
Let's before we get,
Okay.
anyone's going to be providing any sort of testimony, raise your right hand. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I'm just here taking notes for him.
I'm sorry, I thought so, you raised your hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, the absolute truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Third time's a charm.
We got it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so on Friday, about 12:30, PD called to request our assistance at 3701 Larry Lane. When we arrived, CPS and PD were already at the property. Upon inspection of the home, we found there to be multiple code infractions. These include no means of egress other than the front door, unsanitary living conditions like dirty diapers on the floor. There was one room that was packed to the ceiling with items, and there's no covers on box fans, cords all over the place. The basement walls were damaged. The ceiling to the basement was falling in, repaired with duct tape. The basement is packed with items to the point where there is only enough space to walk through.
Is that living space?
No, there's, the laundry is down there, the water heater, and that sort of thing is down there. The electrical box is down there. There were hanging items on the ceiling of the basement and storing them along all of the electrical wiring and things that were there. The space heaters throughout the home were surrounded by items, as well as items being stored on top of them. And the floor in the kitchen was falling in. It had been covered with a piece of plywood. There was multiple fish tanks. Obviously they can have fish tanks, but they were located in front of all of the windows, so there was no means of access to the windows in the event of a fire. But the overall unsanitary conditions of the home for a baby obviously are not up to par. So that's a major concern of ours, is this environment needs to be safe and healthy, not only for the adults that live there, but for the baby as well.
Tell me again what the initial call was, how you got there.
So Child Protective Services was called, and then they contacted the police department, and then when police made entry into the home, they felt they needed to call us.
And how did Child Protective Services get involved?
To our understanding, the female who lives at the property was making some posts on Facebook that were concerning.
Okay.
So is it a rental?
No. How many people reside at this property?
It was me, my fiance, and the baby.
Okay, your child?
Yes.
Okay.
At the moment of the visit, there was a fourth party that was residing at the residence.
Yeah, he was staying, coming, going because he was homeless, and I thought he could live there, here and there, when, every now and then, so yes.
Well, what are your intentions?
My intentions, like I explained to them at the time, I was in the part of renovating. If they would have took pictures of the bathroom you can tell was fully repainted. I still had ceiling tiles to put up and repair to do to the ceiling of the bathroom and the flooring in the bathroom. But I'm disabled, so is she. So it took me time to get money up to do so. I'm low income. So I explained to them that I was doing renovations, showing them that. The diapers they're mentioning, yes, was piled up over a garbage can. I can understand their concern there. Now, when they were saying in front of every window of the aquariums, there was 2 aquariums, or 2 of the aquariums was in front of windows. The rest of them were not in front of windows. They were all over the place because she wanted aquariums. But we got rid of the aquariums and stuff in front of the windows. That's what I was telling him I had pictures of. Also, the middle bedroom that they're talking about, that the boxes are stacked up to the ceiling. Over the weekend, they didn't give me a list to do anything, so they just, by mouth, told me certain things that they were concerned in. So I started working on those. And had the friend they were talking about to help me. I got half of that room done. I got pictures of the road stuff stacked up, garbage stacked up. I'm throwing stuff away because my father that did reside there that passed away, he was a collector of everything. He always collected stuff. 90% of the stuff in the basement he collected. He would collect screws, bolts, anything he thought he could use for later. It's just a slow process. And we just had a baby. She's 4 months old. So I told them to give me time and I'll get it up to code. I was in the process at the time. Now I have to be in a hurry about it, of course. But I have also several friends, if you want to look on the internet, that is gathering together to make some GoFundMe to help me do it faster. I've got lumber coming my way to fix the hole in the floor in the kitchen and the ceiling repairs. So I mean, I'm not just sitting around on this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it done.
I was curious why there's no photographs of the bathroom facilities and the kitchen facilities, cooking facilities.
The bathroom and the kitchen were very questionable.
And the kitchen was dirty in terms of dishes and empty containers of random things and, but the main concern of the kitchen was the flooring, for sure.
Maybe in the future we could add those, whether they're Revlon or not, in case.
Absolutely.
Give us an idea.
I know it's dark down here, but what room is this?
That is actually when you come into the front door. That was the kitchen table setting, like I said, renovations. The kitchen table usually is in the dining room area. I moved it in there to where I had stuff piled on it. That's what you're looking at there.
Yeah, the garbage that's piled on it
Yeah.
is what concerns me, and that's why I wanted to know where that was. And then there's this picture. Is that a couch?
Yes, that is a couch.
Is that the couch that's in your living room that?
Yes.
So
In
where
front
are
of a mirror.
where are you sitting if you've
In-
got all this stuff?
That's it. No one sits in the living room right now during, like I said, the
Right.
renovation.
Sure,
During the renovation, things are going to be thrown everywhere. So
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely, and I see that there are some supplies and things like that, but I also see
Another thing, if
garbage.
you noticed there, since Christmas just happened, everybody was giving us baby stuff.
Oh,
So
sure.
if you look on the couch there, you see baby
Okay.
rockers,
Okay.
baby everything.
And that's
So
why that's, because
Right.
that was a concern to me, and that makes a
Right.
little more sense, that, because I see like gift boxes, but
And also the
do you
concern,
have the means of cleaning this place up while you're doing the renovation? Because like you
Yes.
said, there's a lot here.
yes, there is. And I do have.
And that is very concerning with, like we said, a baby and clean living conditions.
Right.
I see that you've upgraded the electrical service to the 200 amp service box. When was that done?
That I could not tell you. As you can see, the name on the property is my uncle George Guffey. He's disabled and he lives at another family home in Red Bank. So I've been, since my father passed away and I was there taking care of him, I've been trying to get the house up to where it's organized and decent, but of course, it takes time.
It's been over what period of time?
Since,
How long have you been there?
so, how long I've been there on and off? 40 years. But I moved out for a long period of time, and about 3 years ago, moved back in, started everything. First, I started on the garage. Had to build a lot to it to get it looking decent. Had to go through nuts, bolts, everything, trying to scrap metal, recycle. Because that's one of the ways I get money is recycling metal. So I don't know if y'all have ever known about recycling, but if you go through recycling, you have to go through.
You have to sort it.
You have to sort it,
I've
and
done
that's what takes forever. And when you're by yourself doing it, it takes even longer.
This is overwhelming, and just looking at it, it's very overwhelming.
Right.
Are you aware that, because the outside, you've got quite a bit of things that, I can see where some things could be taken for scrap metal and stuff. Are you aware that the city does have dumpsters you can rent that will help you to be able to?
For the low cost.
Yes,
$250.
yes.
They'll deliver it right to your driveway, and then in 5 to 7 days approximately.
I think is that plus the cost of what it takes to dump?
No, that includes the
That
first stuff.
includes the
Yeah, that's
dump.
the first
Oh,
done.
okay, see.
Yeah, so it's,
Other places are gonna run you about 400.
Yeah.
The other thing I found out just here recently, that I can dump twice a month at the local dump here
correct.
for free. So
Yeah,
there's
well,
a better option, you know, so that's what
yeah, and that's the thing, we need you to know what is open to you, because you've got a large task here.
Now, I do have pictures, I didn't know if I could bring my cell phone in. I do have pictures in the car showing, because a lot of people on my street, on the street, just pile up stuff. I have a lot of stuff I've already thrown away that I wanted to show the progress I've done on the street. I mean, I've got a huge pile there, plus I've got a pile in the back of my truck, ready to go. So I just want to let y'all know I'm not setting on this, or I'm not a slum person or nothing like that. I felt at the time, because I was trying to tell her, I felt at the time that I was being treated a little bit like I was white trash, and I did not appreciate that, but I was trying to explain to her, I'm in renovation, I just had a baby, I do not want this condition for my baby, I want this condition for my family.
How quickly do you feel like you're gonna be able to make some real progress?
For her concerns and what
Yeah.
needs to be done, I
Yeah.
could probably get it done within a 3-month period. If it's going the way it's,
3 months is an
Or-
awful long
or
time to
short.
have this much just stuff.
oh no,
The
that stuff is
stuff
gone.
concerns
If
me.
you're talking about the stuff, that's gonna be in there within a 3-week period. I'm telling you, because I'm gonna have help every weekend, only on weekends, because that's the only time they're off.
I understand.
I'm gonna have some help there, just like this weekend. I had some help, one guy helping me there, and we got a pretty good bit done.
Is the child still with
No.
you?
Residing in Cleveland with the mother and her grandfather.
Okay, so because of this,
Mhm.
she went home to family, basically?
Yes.
Was that ordered by CPS? Or heavily suggested?
Yeah, kind of suggested by us as well as them. We definitely did not want the baby to be
Yeah,
very
'cause
involved
that-
in Chesapeake.
That concerns me quite a bit.
The mother was taken by PD, the police department EMS, to have a mental evaluation, and the baby was taken into custody by the grandfather.
Are there drugs involved with this as well as was that any reason that
No,
that the mother, okay.
no,
I
Just
think she was
it
just
was just
Just
a
curious.
mental.
having some postpartum crazy.
She's having postpartum. I've had to deal with it for a while, and I've tried to get her help, but it was one of those things to where a couple facilities, told me that they wanted to admit her, but she wasn't having it. So I finally had to come to a realization to whether either you get help or I'm gonna get the authorities and get you.
Which of course that really doesn't have anything to do with our
No.
Right,
authority,
right.
but I just,
Yeah.
just concerned about the child, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, sorry that.
Just for a matter of record, you're George Grady Guffey Jr.
No, I am Hank Guffey.
and Hank Guffey.
Yeah, he is my uncle. He let my father and me reside there, well, like when I was a kid growing up. He let us reside there all of my life.
Do you pay rent there?
No.
Okay.
Is he unable to attend?
Yes.
Are property taxes up to date?
But he is.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's been paid up for 2019.
Does he take care of the property taxes himself?
Yes,
Or does
he
he
does.
have somebody that does that?
Yes, he does. And then when I get extra money, I give it to him also. Yes.
There's a copy of it if you want to see it.
If they're up to date, that's the only option I think I'm trying to clean it up.
Rodents, nothing
How
like
much of the property in the residence belongs to him and how
That
much
we
it
need to
belongs to you?
notice. No.
Oh,
But-
like the stuff
It
on
wouldn't
the,
surprise me
Yeah,
if
the-
there was some.
Everything that's piled up in there.
Claim to that.
most of it, see, once my father passed, it dropped to me. So it's my responsibility. Most of it is my father's, which is mine now. So that's where you see I'm in the, and he was a pack rat.
I understand a lot of why old people hang on to things, because most of the old people didn't have anything when they grew up. And they never knew when they were gonna need it again.
Right, right.
And I understand that. I remember, I'll get into personal, but my mother was 82 years old when we were sitting out at our home place one time. And I said, Mom, won't we get rid of some of my dad's stuff, you know? Because he passed away back in '86. She just broke down crying. She didn't know what to do with it, you know? She didn't want to separate with it. And a lot of people hold on to that stuff because it's sentimental. But if it's not sentimental, then you need to,
There you go.
yeah.
and you're willing to let it go?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Like I said, this is.
Yeah, I'm not a
this
pack
is
rat.
an-
Never have been, never will be.
Some of this, though, is, for lack of a better term, poor housekeeping, too. So that's where I'm also concerned about bringing a child back in there.
We're gonna have to put benchmarks in place as far as the time frame.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna need pictures again for January 13th meeting, which is like a couple of weeks from today.
Mhm.
That seems reasonable.
So we would like, here in a minute, we would put the motion to have you back, but the day before or earlier that day that we have that meeting, they will need in to make pictures for us, have up-to-date pictures of what you're doing.
And that gives you a couple of weeks.
Just
to-
give me a list.
Well,
And also, of course, your concerns that you brought up.
well, the first thing in my mind you're gonna have to do, is one of the first priorities, is you're gonna have to pull permits with the codes department, help and work with Sarah and Cameron. But to me, one of the first priorities is you gotta have two entrances to this house. If you're in there working and something catches on fire, you can be trapped in there, and we don't want you burning to death or suffocating to death. But,
There's 3 entrances.
well, according to them, they're not functional or they're blocked.
They might have been a fan in front of the door going into the kitchen, but
One of the doors I see, there's another door leaning up on it, on the back, on the outside, I'm on the garage door.
that's a
So
garage.
the basement door, which I believe is in a photograph, and if not, in reference to where the electrical box is, it'll be to the right if you're
Mhm.
facing, that one has padlocks on it. And then the one that was also in the living room, when you first walk in the front door, there's a door that would lead outside, it's on your left, but it's completely blocked by garbage and random items and stuff. So the only way you would get in and out of the home is the front
That's
door.
no longer there.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's the importance of us having those pictures. But to me, we've got to have egress, you know, to get you out or anybody else out. The permits,
Smoke detectors or not present.
right,
That's
that's
another thing I was gonna bring up. I talked to
the fire department will give you smoke.
Yes,
Yes.
that's the,
Not
and they
waiting
said
to
Commander
any-
Albright, I believe
Okay.
that's his name, is gonna contact me and
Okay.
put them in for me, so.
Cool.
I'd also put them in the garage.
I just
too.
wanna see all this stuff gone.
The electrical, from looking at a lot of these electrical junction boxes and stuff, one, they're not up to code, they're not covered properly. There's extension cords running everywhere. You've got a child that's 7 months old that before long is gonna be
Three.
enrolled. 3 months old? Oh,
What
okay.
you said was 3 months old.
Not crawling yet.
Yeah, but,
Oh,
4.
okay.
Okay, we'll get it right.
Eventually.
He's
Under
little.
6 months.
He's little.
Anyway,
But she's a-
also, your truck, are you driving it back? Is it functional?
Yes, it's functional.
Because it's got expired plates on it.
It does have expired plates because they said I failed a HC
Okay.
thing, and I don't even understand what that is. It runs great, it don't smoke, so I've been going back and forth,
What year is the truck?
76.
Oh, it shouldn't have to pass
Yeah,
emissions.
74 and up.
Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I thought it was 80s.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was
74
17.
and up.
Yeah. Okay. Also, the electrical, could we have, who is our electrical inspector?
Right.
Do you think it would be wise to have him to do an inspection on that electrical panel and the wire around and tell us what it needs to be to brought up to code? Because we don't know if there were permits pulled on that electrical panel and put it in when your uncle was there, or your dad,
Sure.
or whoever.
We could ask it.
Okay.
I mean, would you merge run it by?
Yeah, I just feel better knowing that, you know, we're not gonna have a fire hazard there.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the roof, Joyce.
Yeah.
Looking at your ceiling there and then going back on the outside picture showing where they're all rotted off the end kind of
That's a
bothers me.
garage.
No.
You were up there working that, I came by about 5, I could see the lights on and people moving around.
Mhm. That's what we were doing.
Yep.
So that's the garage.
You show me, I'll tell you.
What section of that?
That's the garage.
Yeah, that's the
That
back.
whole thing is the garage?
That's the back of the house.
That's the garage.
Still, that's gotta be brought up, I mean, those timbers are rotted, that's gotta be fixed to be in the city. Cause last year we updated 2012 codes to 2018, so we've had 7 years worth of updates all at once.
Wow.
So, you can go online and see the code, can you not?
Should be able to.
It's called IP.
I tried to do that too, but it just seems also difficult to understand most of it.
When you have a question, just take it to one of them, they'll
Well,
walk
you
you
wouldn't
in.
have to answer any questions, I mean,
Because we're not here to see you get fined or have any problems. We want properties in our city to be nice and the people that's living in them not be at risk for problems. And, you know, looking at this is just a problems here,
Yeah.
especially for an infant or for anybody. With that being said, are you staying there at night now?
They advised me not to. I stayed one night, but I was up all night.
Okay, we would really prefer you not sleeping there or spending time because, I mean, the conditions of that place right now until we get, I guess, a little more ideal of how much it's been cleaned up and things, it just places you at risk, especially since we're here in the midst of the flu season and things, you know, it's, you could get very sick real quick because there's a lot of things here that's going to compromise your immune system and put you at risk, and anybody else that's going in for respiratory issues and things like that. So,
what's the latest update on the smoke detectors?
We'll figure that out.
Okay,
He's gone.
sorry.
We got it.
Alright.
What I was gonna say though is if I, like my bedroom is, the only thing that was wrong in there was the fish aquarium that was in front of the window, and of course stuff on top of the space heater, and the diapers overflowing in the hamper. If I clean all that out, and while I'm working on the place, can I at least stay in my room? You know, if I have a smoke and fire detector in there and all that, and proper, because that room, everything, it's redone good, everything, so.
Mr. Litchford?
Well, the issue is it's either habitable or it's not. I mean, to partition the property,
Right.
or really the residence, is not germane to the issue. The question is, based upon the information that you've received, and I assume you all want to make this part of the record, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll make this part of the record as well. The question is based upon, are you all of the opinion that there is an emergency situation rendering the property to be unfit for human habitation? If you are, then it would be, what you want to do is at least minimal intrusive, which would mean declare it temporarily condemned until you get further assurances that it's been cleaned out to the satisfaction of the code enforcement.
I really wish y'all wouldn't do that, y'all give me time to do this, because I have nowhere to go but maybe the car. So,
That's really the issue here, is based upon what you see here. Mr. Guffey has provided some testimony here today that he has cured some of the, at least as I understand, a lot of the debris in the
Yes.
property. He's removed everybody from the house that would otherwise have a potential dangerous situation, namely the baby. I think, code enforcement, if he's, the information he's provided here today, and no one else is there, and he gets the smoke detector, is it in a position that you think at least temporarily no other individuals reside there or stay there, and the owner is, or Mr. Guffey, I guess you're not the owner, you're the occupant, right?
Mhm.
it's family owned.
So this body's kind of in a tough position here, because you've got a,
Well, can we have you guys go out in the morning and check it out? And let us know if it looks like he's got where he could get out if something happened. You have a smoke detector. What else? Is there anything else other than those two things?
Cover those in the floor till they're permanently repaired.
Need to do something with the electrical that's exposed.
Well, what I see is overhead, right?
I saw a couple of junction boxes.
I saw a junction box needed a lid on
But
it.
they looked like they were overhead,
Are
aren't
they overhead?
they? I think
Now,
so.
the junction box was saying when they just open.
Yeah, I see one junction box that doesn't have a cover.
Don't have cover.
Right.
And I'm assuming that's in the basement.
Can I have a copy of these?
Sure.
Can you
Yeah,
make
this is
that
one I
extra?
made a photograph of.
Is this a,
That hadn't been used in years.
That's a space here.
okay, so it's not a wood burner,
No.
okay.
mistake.
No,
But
it's-
I'm concerned about the stuff sitting on
Well,
top of it.
And,
That
and
was
we
the
made
one.
that a point. It's not an end table, it's an infrared heater. It needs to be free of any debris.
Yeah,
And
that
you
kind
need,
of
what,
thing.
18 inches each side of it, or 2 foot, something like
Something like
that?
that.
And he
These
does
light
that.
waters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would assume so, yes.
yeah, that's the one that bothered me, and then it's just really trouble. This stove, the heater with stuff, that's just.
But I mean, those are things that he could deal with in the next
Real quick.
24 hours. to-
Right. I guess what I would like to see is if we could make a motion somehow where it's a temporary motion, that we will readdress it on January 13th at our 5:30 meeting when it comes up, but he's got to get the smoke detectors in there ASAP. So if you can get the fire department, once the smoke detectors are in there, then I myself would be comfortable with you and you only spending the night in that house. No other adults, no children whatsoever, until, no children period, till you get a green light from us. If you're willing to take that risk, you're a grown man, you're an adult, then, but it needs to be somewhere where in our notes that we have, addressed that, and that the city is not at risk for any recourse or liability there. Would you agree, Mr. Litchford?
Well, the city would not have liability per se from the community, but, I mean, really the tough question is, if it's deemed to be uninhabitable, it's uninhabitable. I mean, it's not a, that's the tough position you're in, is,
Yeah.
Mr. Guffey, you got a place to go tonight?
Oh,
Um,
yeah, my car.
um,
I've been there 40 years. If I thought it was if I thought me living there if it was unsafe for me being there. I have common sense, I would not stay in that house. If I thought that I was gonna be in a track for fire, I would not stay in that
And
house.
sometimes,
You'd
When
be
you
surprised how you just get
and-
comfortable in things.
You know,
Yeah.
Right.
because you stop
Right.
seeing it as much. Sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know how
With
when you
fresh
get a
eyes.
car, sometimes certain things happen to the car or a machine, and then you only know that machine,
So
and then you
this
start
car,
learning that machine, like you'll tell somebody else driving it, don't do this a certain way, or you might do this. This.
I do, and I appreciate that.
I'll show you.
But one
Off the
spark,
floor to the other one.
Right.
that stuff is
I have
gonna
a picture.
go up.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
understand.
And that's
Smoke.
what, that's
I
what
would
this,
smoke there to put it in
Yeah.
that, you know.
yeah, I mean,
And that's what our big concern was with the amount of things in the basement and the other, the
Right.
fire load.
yeah, the
A lot.
fire is what
Right.
kinda gets me, is
Yes.
that
So
it
you
just
can drop
could
where
happen
that
so
comes
fast.
from
Yes.
on the
And you need to
drive
be able to
all
get
the
out,
way up
and you need to
powers
be,
the light into
you know,
where the water heater is.
So, do you agree we need
Well,
a smoke detector?
Mr.
in that
Wilson,
room?
one option.
I agree we need smoke detectors downstairs because of the electrical
So-
panels. We also need clearance to the electrical panels.
What are-
So one option, because you don't want to set a precedent. You don't
Right.
want to suggest that while you find it uninhabitable, you're going to allow.
Right.
The question is, have you all heard enough testimony today to deem the property and the residence to be declared uninhabitable? If you, Mr. Guffey's here and it testified that he's made modifications that, at least in his belief, it's cured the immediate concerns but for the smoke alarm. Can you stop and get a smoke alarm tonight?
Yes.
I mean, you could put a condition that, provided that the smoke alarm is installed tonight, you don't deem it at this time, based upon the information, that it's uninhabitable, at least for him. And he's gonna be back here on January 13th, I believe.
that's, yeah.
As far as that goes, you could buy a cover, to plastic cover to put over that, or metal, either one.
Right.
Basically, what I'm hearing is perhaps you're not, the testimony you're hearing, at least from Mr. Guffey, is he's cured some of the issues
Right.
that code enforcement has found.
There's been 48 hours since the pictures and things, or 72 hours since those pictures were initially made. So like he said, we don't know what he's cleaned up. I'm gonna take him at his word and have,
Or drive by there.
Yeah.
Think about it right now.
You know,
we can't.
That's for codes.
the careful thing I would advise you is the code enforcement is not really able to go in, at 10 minutes before a meeting.
Right.
They really can't. They've taken these pictures
We have other things,
Friday. Y'all captured these on Friday, is that right, Ms. Stevens?
Friday around 12:30.
So- There's nothing in the record, at least that I'm hearing today, that this stuff, say, has been cured, other than what he has stated. You all get to weigh the evidence. If you're satisfied with the information testimonies you've heard that it's not, at least in uninhabitable condition, then rule that way. But
I went by the property today, that truck's not there anymore. I didn't see anything in the driveway. Have you already removed it?
The shed?
Yeah,
No, it's sitting there.
Yeah.
In the front?
it's backed in. It's
Yeah,
backed
it's
up the
back in
driveway.
because I used that truck to
Okay.
take the trash that I already cleaned up to the road.
How about all the diapers and everything? They've been removed from the house, all the garbage
They're backed
inside
up.
the house that
They're
they're
backed
talking
up.
about.
So Sarah and
But
I
are those
spoke
bags still on the property, or are they
On
on
the
the road?
property, but they're outside.
Okay. I just didn't
So-
want them to be bagged up in the living room, because that's
No.
not good enough.
Then the only
So-
diaper compartment I have is one of those genies you have, and it's enclosed to where you shut the diaper in, and it has a lid that shuts off and stuff, so,
So we have more than one way to get out of the house, is that what I'm listening to?
yes.
So that aquarium will be removed from in front of that door.
That aquarium's gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a front door, back door, everything works, you can get in and out.
Right.
We're getting there. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, so before, around 2 o'clock today, the woman from CPS came and spoke with us and asked us when the meeting was and all that. And she did show us some pictures of, I don't know if I should call it progress, or some things that had been moved in the house. It just looked from the photos that things had been put in boxes and were kind of being organized, but were still just kind of moved to a different room of the house. So it wasn't cleaned up and out, it was just kind of like organizing garbage, for lack
Did
of
you
a better
see where I
term.
moved all of the fish aquarium that had the
She did show the one in the living room,
Gone.
that was gone,
The
but,
boxes you see in the living room is, like I told them earlier, is stuff I have to go through and box it up, and the stuff that's important, I'm gonna put it in storage. You know, and the stuff that's not, that's what you're seeing. But if she also showed you the picture that's in that middle bedroom you were concerned about that was stacked in the ceiling of
she didn't have photos.
everything, it's half gone. But that bedroom has not been occupied in 40 years I've been alive. It's always been used as a storage room for my uncle and my
So
dad.
there's some progress,
Some.
but something's been
Progress.
done.
Progress is a word that we can't necessarily use.
Because we
Yet.
haven't seen it ourselves.
I will.
Absolutely,
But
I mean,
You're
just
working
saying.
from anecdotal reports.
I will
Right.
say that the fish tank in the living room has been relocated. I can't verify that it is off the property, but it is not from the window.
Yes.
So, before our January 13 meeting, when can they go back and take pictures for our meeting?
We would do it
If we deem that we're gonna allow this to go through.
So basically, we're looking at 2 weeks from today is when our meeting will be. If they could address the house like on January the 3rd and January the 10th, that would be putting it at a benchmark point of every 7 days since it was written up.
And if there's not significant progress,
Then we will shut it down and we'll ban you from the property.
yeah. I mean, we would just have another emergency meeting and do that. So what's the first benchmark you're saying?
So the first benchmark would be the codes needs to go in this Friday, January 3rd.
Which gives you, it would have been 7 days.
7 days,
Yeah.
and that way they can see hopefully a significant amount of improvement. And then again would be the 10th, which would be 7 days later. That would put you at 14 days from the time you were first signed. And then we would all be back here on Monday the 13th in the courtroom.
I personally like that if on the 3rd, this Friday, which gives you several more days, and there's not significant improvement, then we're gonna have to condemn it and take you out of the house. Okay? But you sound determined, so awesome. We'll get some stuff done this week.
Did the fire department give you a time frame when they'll put the inspector?
No, the lady said he would get back to me, but they will get back to me. That's what I was like, well,
Okay.
okay. Not
We
fast
need at
enough.
least one in that building tonight if you're
Yeah.
going to spend the night there.
Okay.
Very inexpensive too.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
$10 or less. So,
You want to put that in the form of a motion?
That's right.
okay,
So, you wanna make a motion to allow Mr. Guffey to stay in his house and make repairs, provided we have a way of getting in and out, 2 doors. We have smoke alarms installed, of which codes will enter on the 3rd and the 10th for updates for our January 13th meeting.
okay.
And if significant progress is
If
not made.
significant
on
progress is not made, then we will act further.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, could you bring that mic down there and
I don't know if I
that
can remember last night.
Okay,
You're so poetic.
I would like to make a motion.
It's better than
And who's
it.
making the motion?
I
I'm
guess I
sorry.
already can now.
You've already made the motion.
I know.
Well, then I'll second his motion.
Okay,
But she
could
didn't
you-
But she needs the
Could
motion.
you repeat
Can I ask
it in the
one more
mic?
question?
Sure.
My uncle was concerned with this because of some of his stuff in that middle bedroom that they're talking about. Can you not use any room at all for any kind of storage?
Not attached to the
extent.
ceiling.
Not that, yeah, right.
Also, I would like to see that room be used as a nursery rather
Yes.
than the baby
Absolutely.
sleeping where she's sleeping.
And don't put a fan without a grate next to her. Or
Well,
just
no,
take that fan and throw it away.
Right, well, that fan never was next to her,
Okay.
so,
It still needs to be thrown away.
right.
Okay, I'll try this again. I don't know if I can remember that word for word.
You can do
But
it.
I make a motion that we allow Mr. Guffey to stay in his house to make repairs, assuming he has a way to get in and out, 2 different ins and outs of that house, and we have smoke detectors installed. And that Codes gets to go in and check on the 3rd and on the 10th for updates prior to our 13th meeting, which he has to attend. And if the updates are not sufficient with Codes,
Oh, no. Sorry.
okay.
I just realized we could have wound back the tape up there. Amanda's
Right.
got that going too.
No, go ahead.
Then we will take further action. That's what it
Yeah.
What's the last little bit you got? I can't see it.
Okay.
You've got.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
I'm sorry.
Okay. Have a motion, and a second.
is. Oh, she ain't got it all.
Hang on, we gotta make sure she got the last part.
Okay, Codes will check on the 3rd and the 10th prior to the 13th meeting, and he has to attend. Now,
That's
what was
correct.
the rest of your motion?
And that if it's not,
If it
In
is not
compliance,
in compliance,
it will be condemned that day. Is that satisfactory, Mr. Ditcher?
Okay.
Will be
You
condemned
second.
I'll second the motion.
upon inspection, not.
Yeah, then get a roll call.
We won't do it
Vice Chairperson Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ezell,
yes.
Commissioner Stevens,
Yes.
Chairperson Winters.
Yes. Okay. Any other business to come before the board?
Just one more question. Does all the codes have to be done by the 13th?
No,
No,
no, this is,
Y'all scared me there for a
this
minute.
is a piece of a puzzle. You,
What'll happen is, on the 3rd, they'll go in and see you're making progress, or you're not. Same on the 10th, and then they'll report at the 13th meeting with you there.
and on
If
the-
they say that you are, say all of them are not done yet, but yet you're working that way, then more than likely, we will suggest they come back at more dates till you get it done.
Because at some
So as
point,
long as they see that I'm doing it,
progress, yes.
We're gonna need to see significant progress, and like he said, the part of that motion is that by this Friday, when they come in there, you've got to have 2 ways in and out. You've got to have the, smoke detectors, and we gotta see some progress.
gotcha.
And not just things moved around.
Right, I
Okay.
understand that.
Now, when somebody from codes enforcement go by and, or have, the electrician go by and see if he needs a permit to upgrade his electricity before he buys the permit, the electrical.
Yeah, we can contact Fred.
Okay.
We'll ask Fred if he's willing to go in and do the inspection, see what he thinks about that, if he can do that.
And then if he thinks it's necessary, you need to get an electrician, licensed electrician to repair that.
To be honest, a friend of mine has a certified electrician coming this week sometime, I don't know when yet, you know how that goes. Coming up this week to actually inspect some.
Any other business?
And just as long as Mr. Guffey's happy with where we're at right now.
Just make sure your homeless buddy's
Pretty
not there
reasonable.
living too.
Yeah, that's your homeless friend can come back.
Right, yeah.
Was he living in one of the outbuildings or the garage or
No, he
something?
was in the other bedroom that you saw there.
Okay.
All right, we're adjourned, Mr. Guthrie.
Wait, I have a-
You want-
Now, other people are able to come in and help me,
I was
right?
gonna
They
say,
cannot
but not
stay
spend
there.
they
the
can't
night.
spend the night.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
mean to
that's
say
what
that.
you were saying, that the homeless couldn't spend the night during this time. I was
Correct.
like, why can't he give
He
shelter to
can.
somebody? No, but I realized now you meant during this time,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
It's just not fair to put another individual.
Oh,
at
absolutely
risk.
not, absolutely.
Right.
'Cause a lot of people wouldn't tell you no just because, they're being
Yeah.
kind, but unfortunately, with this situation, someone has to take a stand, and it has to be the county commission to do some code. But we wish you good luck. And
And call, what, do they call your office about the dumpster?
No, they call it
sanitation.
sanitation.
Okay, yeah, call sanitation, because that way you can just throw it all in there.
Well, I've got to save money too, to
No, I understand.
So I'm gonna do it the cheapest way possible, probably in either in someone else's truck, but I'll get it away. I have a lot of friends with trucks.
That's good.
All right.
Mr. Guffey, hold on, we're gonna get you an order ready.